A gray sky, the first snowflakes of the season falling over a vast open steppe. A harsh wind sweeps snow dust across bare, frozen shrubs. The temperature drops sharply overnight, from cool to bitterly cold. A small group huddles together, shivering under thin animal hides. No thick fur, no insulating fat layer like a bear or a mammoth. The bare human body was never built to withstand cold like this. In the distance, a thick-furred mammoth strolls through the snow, completely unbothered. An Arctic fox curls up warm in its thick fur, asleep inside a snow den. Many species already carried their survival tools built right into their bodies. Humans don't. And yet humans survive tens of thousands of brutal winters. Not because the body evolved to adapt, but because of something else, the ability to create what the body never had. Back to a simple camp right before winter arrives. The elder studies the sky, reading the signs of a long, harsh winter ahead. There's no time to wait for the body to adapt, preparation has to start now. 7 things will decide whether the whole group survives this winter. Not one of them comes built into the human body. All of them have to be made, learned, and passed down. First, find a wind-sheltered spot before the snow covers every trace. A natural rock shelter is checked carefully, its entrance faces away from the coldest wind. The site must sit high and dry, to avoid flooding when the snow melts later. Not every group has a cave nearby. Some have to build shelter from scratch. In Ukraine, archaeologists found the remains of huts built from mammoth bones and hides, dated to 15,000 to 20,000 years ago. Dozens of mammoth jawbones and tusks were stacked into a frame, then covered with hides. A hut like that could be used and repaired by several generations of the same group. The doorway is built small and low, so heat doesn't escape too fast. Large stones are stacked around the base of the hut, blocking wind from below. The shelter is finished, but inside, it's still cold without what comes next. At the center of the hut, a small fire pit is dug into the ground, shielded from drafts. Controlling fire was a survival turning point, possibly dating back 400,000 to a million years. In winter, fire isn't just for warmth, it cooks food, letting the body absorb far more calories. Frozen raw meat is almost impossible to chew. Cooked over fire, everything changes. Fire is also the one thing that keeps hungry winter predators from coming near the hut. Spear tips are hardened over the flames, sharper and ready for an emergency hunt. Starting a fire from scratch, with flint or a wooden fire drill, takes serious effort and time. So someone is always assigned to watch the fire all night, never letting it die. A steadily burning fire becomes the heartbeat of the hut through the long winter. But even in a warm hut, the body still needs its own protection when stepping outside. Just outside the hut, cold wind still cuts through bare skin with nothing to block it. Neanderthals and early Homo sapiens used stone tools to scrape fat and fur from animal hides. Pieces of hide are cut to fit the body, ready to be sewn together. Sewing needles made from small bones, sharpened and drilled with an eye, were found in Russia dating back about 40,000 years. Thread is twisted from animal sinew, far tougher than grass fiber or vine. An inner layer fits snug to hold heat, an outer layer, thicker, blocks wind and water. Layered clothing appeared remarkably early in human history. It isn't a modern invention. Sleeves and leg wraps are sewn separately and tied tight at the wrists and ankles to keep wind out. Fully dressed, a person can now walk out into the snow without shivering like before. But clothing doesn't produce food. Next problem: having enough to eat through the long winter. No refrigerators, but humans had their own natural ways to preserve food. Strips of meat are dried in the late autumn sun or smoked slowly over a fire. Some food is buried deep in the permafrost of cold regions, a natural freezer. Seeds, roots, and dried fruit are gathered and stored carefully before the ground disappears under snow. Each type of food is stored in its own spot, marked so it can be found under deep snow. The stored amount is calculated carefully. Too little means starvation, too much wastes effort. That modest store is exactly what decides whether the whole group makes it through winter. With food secured, only one question remains: how to stay warm enough to survive each night. At night, the whole family huddles close together in the cramped warmth of the hut. It isn't sentimental, it's pure survival, sharing each other's body heat. The surface area exposed to cold air drops sharply when bodies sleep clustered together. On the harshest days, the whole group barely leaves the hut at all. Long hunting trips are postponed. Only the bare minimum activity happens around camp. Body energy is conserved, relying entirely on the food stored earlier. It's almost a kind of social hibernation, not sleeping the season away like a bear, but saving every calorie. Everything is in place: shelter, fire, clothing, food, and a slower pace to save energy. Not every group chooses to stay in one place all winter. Some hunter-gatherer groups set out before deep snow blocks every path. They follow herds of reindeer and bison migrating toward milder land. Following the herd secures food and avoids the coldest months of the year. Those who stay choose to hunker down and stockpile. Those who leave choose to move and follow prey. Two different choices, one same goal, still alive when spring returns. A small gap in the wall lets the wind through, and the fire flickers, close to going out. Wind howls outside, driving thick snow against the hut's entrance. Deep in winter, the sky darkens in just a few hours. A massive snowstorm is coming. Inside, the group scrambles to check everything. Is the hut sealed? Is there enough wood? Stone and hide are quickly wedged into the gap, and the fire steadies again. The blizzard rages on for a full day and night, showing no sign of stopping. No one is allowed outside now. Everything stops completely, exactly as planned. The group huddles tight around the fire, layered clothing locking in the warmth. Outside, it's so cold that breath turns to mist the instant the door cracks open. The fire is watched steadily, never left unattended for a moment. Dried meat and stored seeds are shared out evenly. No one goes hungry during the storm. By morning, the wind starts to die down, faint light filtering through the snow-covered roof. The worst blizzard of the winter has passed, thanks to every small preparation stacked together. Outside, a large animal looking for shelter tries to get close, but the fire and smoke drive it off. The group steps outside, exhausted but whole. No one left behind, no one forced out during the storm. A small gap is dug open at the entrance. Outside, the whole land lies silent under white snow. Humans have no thick fur, poor cold tolerance, and no biological instinct to hibernate. A mammoth has natural thick fur insulation. A bear can hibernate for months at a time. Not because the body evolved over millions of years like those animals did, but because of planning ahead of the cold season, tight group cooperation, and inventing tools the body never had. Shelter, fire, clothing, stored food, shared warmth, a slower pace, and well-timed migration. Yet humans survived countless of the harshest winters of the Ice Age. 7 simple things, none of them built into the body, yet together they replace an entire coat of fur. This became the very first foundation for the whole civilization that would follow. Spring arrives, the snow begins to melt, and the cliffside hut still stands intact. A new generation grows up, taught exactly what helped their elders survive the winter before. No need to reinvent it, just relearn it, refine it a little, and pass it on. The question is no longer how to endure the cold with a bare body. It's this: what happens when survival lives not in fur, but in the ability to prepare together.